To get a sense of what it's like to realize you're dealing with false foreign invaders and begin to change your relationship to them, let's meet George, a 47-year-old man with obsessive-compulsive traits who has recurring thoughts that if he does not check certain things at the right time, something bad will happen to someone he cares about. George's deceptive thoughts and impulses started in college and became so bad that he had to drop out of classes for a while. As he remembers, I started getting these weird thoughts. I remember the first one: if I did not put something a certain way, someone in my family would die. It's a pretty traumatic thought. I had never had it before, and I thought, geez, what's going on here? This would continue, and the sensations and anxiety would get pretty intense until I actually went ahead and moved the object the way my brain was telling me I was supposed to. Even at that early stage, George had some sense that the deceptive thoughts were false and inaccurate, but the sensations were so strong and overwhelming that he felt compelled to keep following the mandates of his deceptive brain messages. He knew there was no real correlation between his arranging objects or checking things repeatedly and his family's safety, but he found the only way to get rid of the horrible sensations was to check or reposition things. It affected many aspects of his life, as he recalls. When I went out of my bathroom, I had to check a couple times the light, the heater, the fan, to make sure they were all off. Same thing with starting the car in the morning. I always have to check the lights. Are they off or on? Make sure the brake's off. Just double check on things like that, because my brain kept telling me if I don't do this, something bad will happen to someone. My brother might die. As George entered the workforce, the content of his thoughts changed slightly, but the sensations remained just as strong. He had a growing sense that the deceptive brain messages were false and that the feared outcomes wouldn't come true, but he couldn't resist the impulses to check or arrange until he learned how to relabel those deceptive brain messages with the 4 steps and see them as false foreign invaders. Having this insight and knowledge made it easier for him to start putting a wedge between his deceptive brain messages and automatically engaging in the unhealthy habits of checking and rearranging. Once George became adept at using the 4 steps, relabeling became relatively straightforward because the bizarre thoughts and unbearably uncomfortable sensations did not feel like a part of him anymore. He could rapidly relabel them as false messages and reframe them as part of his maladaptive brain wiring, as he explains in this example. There's a drawer at work where I keep my pen. After I get the pen out and I shut the drawer, I have this recurring obsessive thought. It's that my brother's going to die. So when I would go to shut it, I would open and shut it again a couple times, if I'm not catching myself. If I catch myself, then I relabel it. I say to myself, that's an obsessive thought, and I reframe it as a biological problem, a chemical imbalance. It's not me, it's just my brain. Once I do that, it's not easy, but I'm able to shut the drawer and refocus by continuing with my work so I don't go back and keep opening and shutting the drawer.